Deuteronomy 34, the death of Moses. And Moses went up from the plains of Moab unto the mountain of Nebo, to the top of Pisgah, that is over against Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land of Gilead unto Dan, and all Naphtali, and the land of Ephraim, and Manasseh, and all the land of Judah, unto the utmost sea, and the south, and the plain of the valley of Jericho, and the city of palm trees unto Zor. And the Lord said unto him, This is the land which I swore unto Abraham, unto Isaac, unto Jacob, saying, I will give it unto thy seed. I have caused thee to see it with thine eyes, but thou shalt not go over thither. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord, and he buried him in a valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor, but no man knows of his sepulchre unto this day. Nobody knows where he's at. And Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eye was not dim, nor his natural force abated. And the children of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days. So the days of weeping and mourning for Moses were ended. Okay, family, let's do it. Follow me. And Moses went up from the plains of Moab unto the mountain of Nebo. You got Google Earth? Get with it, or you will get left on. Alright, let's go punch in here. Let's just start this off right. Go to Moab. It already knows what I want. It already know what I want. Moab, Utah. Let's go to Moab. We're going to Moab. We're going to Moab. We're going to Moab. Stop right there. Stop right there. Let's back it up. Okay, family, you see that? We are in the United States Corporation. This is Utah. This is Moab. And Moses went up from the plains of Moab unto the mountain of Nebo. Moab. Think I'm tripping. Alright. And you already know, man. Shout out to that King Lex Will, who sent me on a scavenger hunt, so I'm bringing it to you. Also, shout out to Let Us Find the Truth. You know what I'm saying? Always good to get tremendous information from that brother. The whole Columbus drop, you know what I'm saying, straight from that brother. So I definitely want to give the brother his credit. Let Us Find the Truth. And, yeah, I mean, let's just do this quickly before my phone goes out here. Let's just go quick. All right? Follow me. Moab, Utah. What's next? Mountain of Nebo. Let's go there. Mount Nebo. Utah County. Where you gonna take me? Where do you want to take me, Google Earth? He's taking me nowhere. The machine took me nowhere. Look at this. Remember, you're still in Utah. Did we go somewhere, family? No. Mount Nebo, Utah. Just like Lex Will has said, and I just want to give that brother credit for that, man. He's been on it. And, you know, you got to give love, man, when the family is leading you down a path of salvation. Chew the meat, spit out the bones, man. Y'all get over it. Stop being petty. We got to understand. This is true. This is real. Let's all focus. Focus, focus. Mount Nebo, Utah. What's next? I mean, come on. To the top of Pisgah. Come on, it can't be Pisgah, Utah, right? It can't be no Pisgah in Utah. Let's check it out. You're doing this with me, I hope. You know, you got Google Earth on your phone. Go Pisgah. Pisgah. Utah. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, I gotta put in Mount Pisgah. Excuse the heck out of me. Let's go back. Just trying to jam us up. Can't let them jam us up, man. They want to see Mount Pisgah in Utah. Oh, snap. They trying to mess with us. Watch this, watch this, watch this. Pisgah, Pisgah, Pisgah. Mount Pisgah Mount, where we at? Mount Pisgah. You see that? Ketch County, Utah. Look how they try to confuse us. Did we go anywhere? Let's back up a little bit so we can get our orientation. See that we're still in Utah, Mount Pisgah. Let's back it up a little bit. You know, let y'all know I'm not tricking you. Oh, that's Salt Lake City. Here we go. Mount Pisgah. Pisgah. Here we go. Salt Lake City. Alright. Sorry, I'm going too close to that. There we go. Just a little closer. Mount Pisgah, Salt Lake City. What else do we have? We're still in Utah, right? Okay, Moses went up from the plains of Moab to Nebo to Pisgah. It's over against Jericho. Let's go fast here. Because you already know I'm getting that. Jericho, Jericho, where are you? Please don't tell me you are in the U. Tall. I mean, my mind was blasted last night, though. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. It's crazy. Jericho. We didn't go nowhere. We're still in Utah. Salt Lake City, Utah. Let's back up so we understand where we're at. All right, this is Utah. All right. Come on now. Come on now, Jericho. Come on now. Come on. Where you at? Don't play. Jericho. This is Utah. Okay. Here we go. Jericho, Utah. All right. So we got Moab. Back up a little bit for you. All right. So we got Utah. See that clearly, I think. All right. Cool. Utah. This is Moab. Nebo. Jericho. All right. Pisgah was over there seen too. So far we have everything right there. What else? And the Lord showed him all the land of Gilead. Is there a Gilead in Utah? All right, going once, going twice. What does the survey say? Family. If your mind ain't blown yet, man, you need some wake-up juice, man. I don't know what to tell you. Gilead? Utah. What? Gilead Way. Oh, wow. So that's Utah. Boom. That's Moab. Bang. Remember? All right. We have Pisgah over there. We have Jericho somewhere over here. This is Gilead. And what you'll find is that all this is the land of Gilead. Right. The land of Gilead. There. And Moses went up from the plains of Moab unto the Mount Nebo to the top of Pisgah that is over against Jericho. And the Lord showed him all the land of Gilead unto all the land of Gilead. Hey man, shout out to Wave Surfer, Balcony Surfer Drop. Had to get that piece. Go get the drop. Because we're just talking about the Tishbite today. I'm like, where's Tishbe? It's in Gilead. The Tishbite. Let's go. Shabbat Shalom to the home team. Where's Tishbe? And let's all put this together in real time. In battle time. Love the Aqua Top battle. Tishbe, the royal city, which before the Israelite conquest seems to have been the seat of a wide authority. Joshua 11:11. It was taken by Joshua, who exterminated the inhabitants, and it was only the only city in the region which he destroyed by fire. Fire. We're gonna put these dragons together. This is a dragonfly perspective. We're gonna, do what we said we're gonna do. We're gonna do what I said we're gonna do, man. We're gonna dig deeper in the scripture than we've ever dug before. We're gonna approach it with a dragonfly perspective. And if you're on board for that, if you want to enjoy a nice flow, then that's where we're headed. You know what I mean? And this is where we're going, and this is where we came from, and this is where we started. This was all foundation for us, especially when we talk Elijah. All right, so let's talk Elijah the Tishbite. We're going to get back into why this area is so important. I mean, we're just trying to pinpoint a location, a locale. When we talk about Elijah, we're about to get into 1 Kings 17. They call him the Tishbite, right? And they try to relate him to a place of origin. And then we're going to go, deeper into, are we really lost in translation, and are we just talking about a dweller? A dweller, a nomad, someone who's dwelling in, from place to place, just passing through, kind of like a Melchizedek, just passing through. Who is Elijah? Who is John the Baptist? Medieval history of the Israelites. I hope everyone got a copy of this $1,000 book. I don't know how much it costs now, man. But we got it out to as many people have requested. If you still ain't got your copy, email me music@432thedrop.com. Because we've been connecting the legend of Prester John, right? The priest king, with your biblical priesthood, Hosea 3:5. We seek Hawa directly, not through no hijack. We seek Hawa directly. And after we, can gain an understanding of our source, then do we start seeking David. Then do we start seeking the earthly realm, right? The earthly priesthood. First, you seek Hawa. Once you get, your wings, right? Once Hawa got you flying, then you're ready, my noggin. Then you're ready, my noggin, right? To be baptized in the fountain of youth. Now you got a brand new life. You got that water. You're just talking about the Holy Grail. Come on, man. Let's connect Elijah like we did before, In Matthew, it mentions, that this Jesus is saying that John the Baptist is Elijah Khan. And then we're connecting this John the Baptist, this reflection. Let's get it again. Because we're only talking about the 11th century AD, my naga. All right, so this is all recent. We're talking the Kara Katai. Remember the Black Cathay. Remember the Cathay drop. Pure land. Black people on this pure land. Copper-colored Nagas on the pure land. Now, what baptism are we talking about? Are we just talking about the fountain? The eternal fountain of youth. And what has this got to do with Elijah the prophet or Elijah the priest? See, they keep calling him Elijah the prophet. I like to refer to my man Elijah or Eliyahu as Elijah the priest, so we don't get lost in translation. And if he's a priest, my noggin, then he's a Prester. And what does this Prester John got to do with King David, who is immortal? You see, King David is a bigger story than they've are giving us access to in our so-called canonized biblical versions. And although we're digging on the scripts with a dragonfly perspective, please don't get it twisted that we're just taking words off a page. We know that this version of things that we're getting out of Barnes and Nobles ain't the sacred holy text, my naga. Get out of that spirit of stupor. So all we can do is connect things. We can, bring a connection to it with a perspective that Hawa has given the Khan encoded in us to unlock at this time. when the books are being unsealed? Did a black man discover the fountain of youth? We're just talking Elijah the prophet, or Elijah the priest, or Elijah the Prester. What baptism? Or we're just talking the fountain. Everyone's talking about it. Herodotus is talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. Because when you talk about the fountain, my now, remember what the priest king said about the fountain. They're looking for it everywhere. They're looking for him everywhere, right? Whoever drinks of this water 3 times without having eaten will have no illness for 30 years. And when he has drunk it, he will feel as if he had eaten the finest meat and spices, for it is full of the Creator's grace. A person who bathes in this fountain, talking baptism, right? So this is what the Christian put a 2-dimensional lens on, that we had living waters. We had primary mem, love to the bro, yourself. We have primary water, man, to swim in to regain youth. And this is not mythical, just because they call it mythology, just because you don't have the mind bone to wrap around reality. Don't call things mythology because you can't wrap your mind bone around reality. Let's put that on a shirt. New slogan. Coming soon. Dropping soon. Come on, man. You got to wrap your mind bone around reality, man. All right. So a person who bathes or is baptized in this fountain, whether he's 100 or 1,000 years old, will regain the age of 32. And then what did the Prester say, or the prophets say? Know that when we were born and blessed, we were born and blessed in the womb of our mother 562 years ago. And since then, we have bathed or been baptized in the fountain 6 times, my naga. I said, how many times? 6 times, my naga. And that's when we got it clear. That's when we started seeing clearly that we're digging with an immortal. We're digging with immortality. When we talk about Prester John, Prester means priest, John means king, priest, king, Melchizedek. Who's Melchizedek rolling up on Abraham, giving him the drop on the circumcision, the whole flow, right? Who's this priest, King Melchizedek, coming in and out the picture? You're talking eternal flow. And this is what they try to do with JC, is make him this King of Kings, make him this eternal flow. All power has been given to me. Matthew 28, Prester John never has to say all power has been given to me under heaven and earth. Prester John is wholly secure in who Prester John is. He doesn't have to announce a new declaration of power. He would say, Hawa got the keys. Hawa got the keys. All power has been given to me. Even though we know, when we're just talking Prester John, right? We're just talking the fountain. We're just talking baptism. Although we know, let's go. We're talking this priest king, Prester John. Most likely, this is a reflection of John the Baptist. And we don't need to buy a $1,000 book to get the drop. This is the connection that's coming out. The books are being unsealed. The books are being unsealed. Allahu. And then you can go deeper into these reflections, man, these duplications. You know, when you dig on this Chinese situation, right? And that's a whole nother kind of story. And we've been talking about where China really is and these, reflections of this JC over and over again in everybody's history, right? You're just talking Hawashua. You're just talking that Joshua flow. And you're just talking Johnny the Baptist is a what? Reflection of Prester John. Reflections of John the Baptist. So is John the Baptist a reflection of Prester John, or is Prester John a reflection of John the Baptist? You're talking priest king, man. You're talking Melchizedek. So the story of John the Baptist is a reflection of Melchizedek. We're talking Magi, which means we're talking what? Mongol, right? So when you go back into this Isus story and Matthew and all that, the Gospels, they want to tell you about this Magi. All the three Magi that's present when JC is born. The Magi are present. But remember, we're just talking the greats, which means we're talking the Mongols, which means we're talking the what? Magi. We must note that Magi was probably the same as Mongols or Mongols, which means great ones. Anatoly for the man who got the drop. We're talking true chronology. You know what I mean? So just understand when you talk Magi in the New Testament, you're just talking the Mongol and you're just talking the great. Come on, get out of the hijack, get out of the terms and terminology so you can see we're talking great ones and priest kings. And let's put the story together in real time, Anak. So, if John the Baptist is a reflection of the Prester, then who does this New Testament hero say Johnny the Baptist is? And this is when we got down. We talked about, this immortality, this immortal water, this flow that we attribute to David. This is why you search for David, so you can search for your flow right here, the Zon, that is the powwow, King of Kings, right here on this earth plane, right here on this realm, who got the keys forever. And David, their king, whom I will raise up for them, Jeremiah 30, right? Hosea 3 and 5. Afterwards, the children of Israel, you shall return, seek the Creator and David, right in your face bone. You're going to have to do you're going to do some hard work to tear this down. Because please believe, if the Christians had a scripture that said, one day you're going to wake up, seek the Lord and David and Jesus. If the Christians had a scripture that say, wait, you're going to wake up and seek the Lord and Jesus, they will be posted that on every bumper sticker, on every church. It would be on every signpost. It would be everywhere, just like they, John 3:16, right? You know what I'm saying? Lord's Prayer, all that. If they had one scripture, man, especially in the Tanakh, that said that the children of Israel will wake up and seek Jesus, man, that shit would be the number one scripture you were ever taught since grade school. But we have a scripture that says, afterwards, the children of Israel shall return and seek Hawa and Dawi and David, your king, and you shall respect Hawa and his goodness in the latter days. Oh my God, that's a body bag. You're going to have to weasel your ass out of this one, Hijack City. You're going to have to get out of this. How you going to get out of this? How do you tear this down? Oh, you must substitute you must substitute David with Jesus. You must do a switcheroo. You must give us a what? A reflection. So now we got reflections popping up. And if you got reflections of Johnny the Baptist, you got reflections of this Jesus. And this is what we're putting all together. To dodge your own damn hijack, phantoms and duplications. What reflection? Most likely, this is a reflection of John the Baptist, my noggin. Let's go. We having fun tonight. So what does this Isu say about Johnny the Baptist, right? Because they need to make David Jesus, right? That's the whole point. This is what all the councils have been about. Malachi 4, verse 5. Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet or the priest or the prester, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of Hawa, and he will turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, lest I come and strike the earth with a curse. We're talking a plague, huh? We're talking a virus. So Elijah is returning before the great and dreadful day of Hawa. So before Hawa makes her triumphant return, before mama and daddy come home, Elijah comes. Now you can say, is this Elijah the prophet separate? Is this Elijah the prophet separate? Then back to Jeremiah 30. Is this Elijah the prophet separate than David their king, whom I will raise up for them? Is Elijah the prophet or the priest or the Prester separate than the Prester King David, whom I will raise up? Because you just thought he was a regular king. He's dead forever. Just like Moses, just like we got in Deuteronomy 34, opening up, Moses' body was left unabated. Did Moses ever truly die? Did David ever truly die? Is he not anointed of Hawa directly? Was Elijah, did he die or did he get swept up in this fire chariot, right? Fire chariot, Khan. So it sounds like Elijah rode off on a dragon to me. And it sounds like David will rise up again. And we are talking about forever, right? Ezekiel 37. I'm going to bring them into their own land, and I'm going to make them one nation in the land. David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they shall all have one shepherd, not two, and not three. You're talking about the earthly realm here. One shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, observe my statutes, so they're going to keep the code, and they shall dwell in the land that I have given to Jacob, my servant, where your fathers dwell, and they shall dwell there, their children, their children's children, forever. My servant David shall be their prince forever. If the Christians had a scripture that said Jesus will be our prince forever in the Tanakh, if Ezekiel said Jesus, they're going to read, my servant Jesus will be their prince forever, they will have this shit on every bumper sticker, my naga. So wake up. Don't discount this because they're not paying attention to. And I'm saying, if David is prince forever, what does this have to do? One shepherd over them, right? We're talking forever. My servant David is prince forever. Ezekiel 37, Ezekiel 34. And we know that in Malachi, Hawa is going to be sending somebody that is forever. The prophet Elijah, before the coming and great dreadful day of Hawa. And what does it say in Matthew? Hijack City. For all the prophets in law prophesied unto John. And if you are willing to receive it, he is Elijah who is to come. Yeah. John is Elijah. Let's make sure we're talking Johnny the Baptist here, who got the fountain of youth. Matthew 17. Why then do the scribes say Elijah must come first? Just like I said in Malachi, behold, I was sending Elijah before the coming and dreadful day, right? So why do the scribes say Elijah must come first? Indeed, Elijah is coming first and will restore all things. So who's Elijah? Jesus? Who's going to restore all things? But I say to you that Elijah has come already, and they did not know him, but did to him whatever they wished. Huh? Whose story is this? Likewise, the Son of Man is also about to suffer. Oh, that sounds like a reflection. That sounds like reflection talk. Get to it, man. Get to it. What's the point? What are you writing about? What's the point, scribe? Then the disciples understood that he spoke to them of Johnny the Baptist, man. Elijah has come. He spoke to them of John the Baptist because John is Elijah who is to come. Okay. John is Elijah who is to come. John the Baptist is Elijah. And this is what, these are those little jewels that they like to drop in between the lies, in between the hijack, while they give you a new king, a new prince, a new hero, a new romance, love to the Templar. We're talking Elijah is Johnny the Baptist, and Johnny the Baptist is a reflection of Prester John, who has the fountain of youth. In other words, Prester John was letting readers know that by the miracle of the fountain of youth, he was 562 years old and going strong. As a result of this interpolation, building on the fountain of youth, Herodotus had identified in Ethiopia, love to natural, Ethiopians. Europe's difficulty in making contact with Prester John then was of no moment, Silverberg argues, for he was immortal, mana. Okay. Johnny the Baptist is Elijah. He is immortal. My servant David shall be their prince forever. Elijah is John the Baptist. Most likely this is a reflection of John the Baptist. We're talking Prester John. And we didn't even have to pay $1,000 to get the drop. So let's go. So what do they say about Elijah? Elijah's John the Baptist, and John the Baptist is Prester John, and Prester John is King David, and David will be your Khan forever. David, whom I will raise up for you. Elijah's coming back before the great and terrible day. David, who I will raise up for you. We're talking titles, right? What does Elijah mean? What does it all mean? Elijah, also spelled Elias or Eliah or Eliyahu, Hebrew prophet who ranks with Moses in saving the religion of Hawa. He ranks with Moshe. Slow down. That's crazy, right? Because before you're like, yeah, I mean, he's a bad man, but to rank up with Moses, though, he must be a bad man. To rank up with Moshe, oh man, Elijah must be a bad man. You must be talking about forever then, because Moshe, his body was left unabated. Deuteronomy 34, right? I mean, let's just get a little more. To Dan, this is the tricky one because they're going to try to fool you. You can't just put in Dan. These little suckers renamed it to Daniel. That's right. Daniel, mother effing Utah. Bang. That's Dan. Gilead. Dan. Moab. Right? And they say, oh no, man, Joseph Smith named all these. Well, he sure did try to hide it then. If it was just a Joseph Smith thing, then why not just call it Dan? Who called it Daniel? Or are you just saying it's a coincidence that there's a Daniel city near Gilead? And where's Elijah from? The Tishbite? Gilead. And where's the land of Prester John? Utah. So the land of Prester John's in Utah, and Elijah is the Tishbite from Gilead in Utah. Got it. Still with me? Moab, Gilead, Dan. Where else did he go? And Naphtali. Come on, how you spell Naphtali? You don't spell that word every day. Naphtali. N-A-F. Tali. this is what's funny, is that sometimes it's not even named anymore, but they're still going to go there. Look, I just put Naphtali in, and they just take me over to this little area. That's Moab, that's Utah, so Naphtali must be over here somewhere, just by virtue. Look, they just took us over here. I just went to... Naphtali, you see that? Right here. That's Naphtali. I typed it in, and they took me right here into Utah. So far. And the land of Ephraim. Most of y'all that know Utah already know there's Ephraim in Utah. Excuse me. Ephraim, Utah. It just comes right up. Ephraim. We didn't go nowhere. We are still in Utah. That is still Moab. This is still Ephraim. That is still Jericho. And that is still Utah. Come on. And Manasseh? Is there a Manasseh?
Is there a Manasseh?
Do we have a Manasseh?
There go.
Manasseh. Manasseh in Utah. Look, where are they taking us? They just took us over. They're just taking us over here, where the Great Salt Lake is. In mother effing Utah. That's Manasseh over here.
No, Joseph Smith.
That brother, so I definitely want to
Joseph Smith, named. Then why not still call it Manasseh? Why hide the work of Joseph Smith if you're a Utahian, right? You a Utahian, or you a Judean, a Judean? Are you a Judean or a Yahudim? Is you from the tribe of Judah? Is you from the Utahian Utite? Are you an Israeli? Or are you from the tribe of Israel? Huh? Phantoms and duplications. And if Joseph Smith named it Manasseh, I mean, why not just call it Manasseh? Why even take it off the whole flow? You know what I'm saying? These are things you got to answer if you're just saying it was just named recently by Joseph Smith. Or did he recover and discover and come over to the promised land, the same as Columbus coming to the holy city, and he got him a piece? Columbo went over there, looking into the, Jerusalem situation. You know what I'm saying? He's over there trying to figure things out, looking for Cuba, different parts. And over here we got the land of Prester John over this side. All of it is Prester John's territory. All of it is King David, because he rules all three Indias, my naga. He rules all three Indias. Let's get a little bit more. Allahu Akbar. Seeing clearly.
Moab, right? Still with me? Moab.
Let's get it from here.
Ephraim. We didn't go nowhere. We are still in Utah. That is still Moab. This is still Ephraim. That is still Jericho. And that is still Utah. Come on. And Manasseh.
Let's go. We
the
already
land
know.
of Judah. Very interesting. You type in Judah, Utah. Where's it going to take us? You know it's not called Judah no more. That'd just be crazy. But where does it take us? Does it take us somewhere crazy? Does it say, I can't find it? Judah, Utah? Oh, wait. Now it's going to go crazy and take me to Nebraska. Don't play. We've been through this. Judah, Utah. Come on. Don't you play now. Yeah, it just wants to act crazy, man. You check it out, though. Last time it took me to Golden Spike. Judah.
Golden Spike, y'all.
City.
Check out Golden Spike, Utah.
Put in Judah City. Wait a minute. It took me to Golden Spike, effing Utah. They call him.
All we did was put in Judah City. Now, oh no, boss. Joseph Smith named all these names. Then why not still call it that today? If it's just a play, if he was just playing around and said, I wish this was Judah City. I wish this was Manasseh. Why not call it Manasseh? I wish this was Dan. Then why not call it Dan? Why is it called Daniel, man? Why are they hiding it? He came to the promised land, the same as Columbus, to seize the holy city, but he went over here to Judah, you see? Can you dig it?
Judah golden spike. And look what they put. Look, they got their church. You know what I'm saying? You go in close.
They got all that hijack.
These people put up town halls and stuff. This is when the Mormons came in and started renaming everything. When you look at the Canyonlands, the Zion National Park, all the national reserves that they still have there, that's what they've done. You know what I'm saying? They've preserved whatever. But that land is still that land, and they named it all biblical names because they knew where they were. They were the Aztec homeland. They knew the Aztecs were Israelites, and they were following Moses.
Bang.
And he died.
And he died.
Right there in the land of Moab. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died in the land of Moab according to the word of the Lord. And he was buried in the valley of the land of Moab over against Beth Peor. Just for fun. Can we find a Beth Peor, Utah? Come on, just for fun. Beth Peor, Utah.
Hey, man, we was right off the balcony with this, man. Right off the wash machines, man. Hey, man, love to the family, the wave surfers, man.
Come on. Where you gonna take me? Where we going? They just went over here. Look. That's Moab. He said it was buried around Beth Peor, in the valley of Beth Peor. Right there. Beth Peor, Utah. Even if they don't call it that, they're still taking you to those areas. So go do this yourself. Google Earth. The entire kingdom of Israel is in Utah, Moab, Ephraim's over there. Believe Judah. Where's that golden spike again? It's there. It says all the way to the seas. How do you say it? The land of Zor. Oh, you look at that. Oh, land of Judah unto the utmost sea. So I believe either that's land of Judah stretched all the way to the sea this way, or you can look at it as land of Judah going all the way to this particular utmost sea, this particular area here. Either way, it's in Utah, folks, man. So again, shout out to Lex Will for the drive and the great homework assignment, King. Keep it coming. Y'all get with it, man. Deuteronomy 34. Read it yourself. Look at every single name in there, and you'll find it in Utah. King drop.
Let go. Shout out to the balcony surfer drive. We're talking Elijah, which means we're talking Gilead, which means we're talking a Udall. But let's pick it up from here. Now, this Tishbite situation, man, this is when it gets fun, man. Y'all ready? All right, let's have some fun. And let's get, a nice little flow through 1 Kings and 2 Kings, a little 2 Chronicles for the dismount. All right, so Tishbite is what's called a demonym. Have you heard of a demonym before? All right, so a demonym, they're just saying is, or gentilic, is a word that identifies residents or natives of a particular place, usually derived from the name of the place or that ethnic group. Let's get some more of this. In other words, somebody can be from Chicago and call themselves a Chicagoan or Chicagoan. You know what I mean? I'm a Chicagoan. But that doesn't give any clarity to their tribal background. You know what I mean? So when we read stuff like Elijah, the Tishbite, it has nothing to do with him being from Judah, from Benjamin, or from any of that. It just means they're trying to give him some type of basic area to relate to. A demon, and they're demonizing. They're throwing the tricks. They're throwing the trickery. They're throwing some tricknology into the flow. So it's a word that identifies residents or natives of a particular place, usually derived from the name of the place or that ethnic group. Subfield of anthroponym. The The study of demonyms is called demini or demonetics. All right. And again, you got people from Quebec calling themselves Quebecers, right? Or you got local demonyms such as Chicagoan, all right, Okie, Parisian, all right, all this. So you got to be careful when these translators throw in demonyms on you to just try to give somebody an area as if, oh, he can't be from Judah, he can't be from Benjamin, he can't be from it, he must be a Tishbite. Elijah's from the land of Tishbe, the land of Chicago. He's a Chicagian. He's not a Israelite. He's a Chicagian. All right, these are demonyms. Let's go. We just surfing away. Tishbite is a demonym predicated of the prophet Elijah. So literally, it's not mentioned nowhere else, but suddenly it's just mentioned in relation with prophet Elijah. Let's go. In the Hebrew Bible, you're about to get that. 1 Kings 17, 2 Kings. The words of 1 Kings 17:1 are usually rendered as Elijah the Tishbite of Tishbe in Gilead. As translated into English, Tishbite is the demonym for Tishbe. The demonym is predicated of the prophet to denote that his residence or possibly his birthplace was Tishbe. Possibly. So they're not giving you no cold hard facts here, right? Alternatively, the words of 1 Kings 17:1 could be rendered, listen up, Elijah the dweller from among the inhabitants of where? Gilead. And where's Gilead, huh? Where the wave surfer drop this tell us, man? All in Utah, right? So now we can, start putting things and start connecting, start severing this stuff with a dragonfly perspective, just like, I promised we would. We're going to look back on all this with a 360 dragonfly perspective. So instead of calling it Elijah the Tishbite, we can remove the demonym, right? We could remove the demonym and just say Elijah the dweller, or he's a traveling nomad, right? How many times have you heard that about the Prester? He's a traveling nomad. He's here, he's there. Elijah the dweller from among the inhabitants of Gilead, because in that verse, Tishbite and the word denoting inhabitants are very similar. Whoa, so Tishbite and the word denoting inhabitants, right? It's just a demonym. It's just a demonym. Strong's Concordance states that the word denotes a dweller, my naga. It has nothing to do with him being in Tishbe. He's just saying that he's a dweller, like Melchizedek. Essentially, it denotes a resident alien. All right, so he's not exactly from here. He's an energy from everywhere. He's an energy from over here. He's an energy over there. The concordance indicates that the word is used to denote a sojourner 9 times, a stranger 3 times, and a foreigner once, and an inhabitant once. The most frequent use of the word is in Leviticus 25, which states sabbatical jubilee year requirements. All right, now check this out. Abraham is mentioned as a sojourner in Genesis 23:5. So Abraham is also a Tishbite. You see how this works? You see how this demon works? This forked tongue, this translations work? 360 dragon, flit eye. So Abraham would be a Tishbite, a sojourner. But who else, my noggin? Because we're comparing this with Dawid, right? So Elijah is a sojourner like Abraham in Genesis 23:4, and King David and our fathers are described as sojourners. So they're also Tishbites. King David is a Tishbite, my naga. Who else? Abraham's a Tishbite. We're talking sojourners. We're talking sojourners. We're talking Tishbites. We're talking dwellers. Come on. We're talking sojourners. So it's used 9 times to talk about sojourners, right? David is a sojourner. These are, even though he's King David, he's still being described as a sojourner in Psalms 39. And we're going to connect all this stuff. So, again, when you talk Tishbites in Gilead, You're just talking about Elijah, the dweller or sojourner from among the inhabitants in Gilead. And we know where Gilead's at. Let's back it up. Just talking the prophet. All right, we're just talking the prophet. And this is beautiful, man. This is a beautiful time to see clearly. I'm kind of going to start back and work my way up with this one. We'll start right here where it says origin. Pull up all these links. This is just on Elijah on the wiki. Let's go. 3 different theories regarding Elijah's origin are presented in the Agada literature. He belonged to the tribe of Gad. All right, so these are 3 different origins because nobody knows where this Elijah came from, right? He just popped out of nowhere in 1 Kings 17. He just came on the scene, started jamming up Ahab and saying, look, man, throw away your idols, right? He banged on him so hard for these idols, and he banged on all these priests, these false priests, and banged on their idols. And he brought that fire, Khan, and he left in the fire. Khan, we're just talking Elijah. We're just talking John the Baptist. We're just talking Prester John. Coming in the fire, leaving in the fire. Sounds like a meteor, right? Remember, man, let's get it. Come on. Get it like it's the first time. Get it like it's the first time. Rock with me, man. Rock with me. We're just talking meteor, right? In a general sense, a body that flies or floats. Oh, it's a fiery, luminous body. A fiery flying, what? A fiery flying, huh? Oh, meteor like flames lawlessly through the sky. Fiery, right? Fire. Elijah brought that fire. Is he a prophet or is he a prester? 1828, American Dictionary of the English Language. Prester is a meteor, my nigga. Is he a prophet or a prester? He brought that fire with such violence that the collision it is set on fire. What did Elijah do in 1 Kings, or excuse me, what's that, 2 Kings 18 that he went to work? I mean, we about to get it. 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 Don't even trip. Just know he brought that fire with such violence. We're just talking that fire, that Prester fire. Khan. Oh, and by the way, what's a dragon? What's a dragon? Because I said Elijah left on the dragon and he brought that dragon fire. I'm just saying if he brought the fire, he might have brought that dragon, which is also a fiery shooting meteor body bag. So when you talk prophet or prester, you talk prester, you're talking meteor. When you talk comet, you're talking meteor. And when you talk dragon, you're talking meteor. He brought that dragon fire. Now you see clearly 360 degrees in the script, which we about to get. I just want to pave the way, pave the road. So these are the different origins, theories that are presented in what's called the Aggadah, Aggadah literature. He belonged to the tribe of Gad. That's one theory. Or he's from Benjamin. That's another theory. Or he's identical with the Elijah mentioned in 1 Chronicles 8. I'll make sure we get that. Let me write that down. Because I got 2 Chronicles. You're about to get 2 Chronicles 21. And we're going to get them quickly. Let's go. 1 Chronicles 8. All right, 27. Let's go. So what else they say? Many Christian church fathers also have stated that Elijah was he was a priest. So Elijah's mentioned in 1 Chronicles and he's a priest. That's a big deal, man. Why you're not calling him a priest? Because if you're not calling him a priest, that means you're not calling him a prester or presbyter or a dragon, fiery dragon. We're just talking priest, my knock. We're just seeing clearly, dodging the hijack, why they're avoiding this term. Because he's bringing that fire with such violence. Oh, it's causing a collision, right? It's causing a collision. This priest Elijah, this Prester John, this John the Baptist with the fountain of youth. I'm just talking King David, my noggin, who got the water, for he is immortal, my noggin, and could wait a while longer to be discovered. Prester John was in the most exclusive club of personalities who had staying power. He had all the power, not years or minutes. Well, he got the water, you know. Prester John got the water. Prester John, John the Baptist got the water. You're talking about the Holy Grail, my knock. Talking about the Grail of Grail. We're talking about the King of Kings. The Rex nigga, man. Let's get this from here. Remember this? We on page 325. Where we at? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me back it up a little bit. Here we go. So you're talking Prester John's Kingdom, which means you're talking the Grail, right? The symbol of the Grail, the Holy Grail, is a symbol of authority and traditions which are inherited. It is part and parcel of Prester John, priest king. Who's the priest? Who's the Prester? Who got the dragonfly? The meteor, right? The legend of whom was spread widely in the Middle Ages. John was the master of a huge empire. John the Baptist with the water, with the fountain. He was omnipotent and all powerful. We're talking Elijah. We're talking David, whom I will raise up for you, who will be your prince, your Khan forever. Search for the creator and Dawi. Why? You're talking all powerful. So back in Matthew, now Jesus becomes all powerful. All power has been given to me under heaven, right? Matthew 28, man, that's the funniest scripture of all time. Because how can you be all powerful when Johnny was already got the powwow? Johnny already got the powwow. Wong is king, is John. All powerful. Kings and czars were only to him subjects. Tracticus Polemarchus calls John the King of Kings, Rex Regnum. He combines in himself spiritual and secular authority. So he got the drop on all levels. And he's bringing it right here to the earth realm to guide, to give you water through Hawa. And he can say about himself, Prester John, by God's grace, Lord of all lords, who only are beneath heaven. Why do you search for the Creator and Prester John? Hosea 3 and 5, for the children of Israel shall abide many days without a Khan, without a sacrifice or pillar, effort, or teraphim. No sacred drop, man. Afterwards, the children of Israel, Yasharah, shall return and seek Hawa and David their king. And you're going to come back in obedience with your creator and his goodness in the latter days. talking about the Holy Grail, the symbol of authority. We're talking to Prester, who got the drop, all the drop, by Hawa's grace. Only beneath heaven, only beneath Hawa, from the rising of the sun to paradise on earth. And if the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west, then we're talking the rising of the sun to the west, to paradise, which is really the Orient. In all the medieval sources, Prester John controls and holds back the tribes of Gog and Magog, man. He's fighting against Gog and Magog. He's fighting the hijack. King David is hijack free. Controls the seen and unseen worlds. He impedes the penetration into his kingdom of the lions and giants, imperial military units corresponding to the lions, which had portrayals of a lion on their ensigns. Or we talking about real, giants and so-called what they call lions, right? These military units, the degraded caste of warriors who had renounced high principles and fell into the grip of arrogance, violence, and militancy, corresponding to the giants or the titans. Who's fighting the giants? The giants, it says, were worshippers of the wolf. It wasn't Genghis Khan and his people also worshiping this wolf moon, and they called themselves the Wolf Clan? Who's Prester John fighting? The wolves, the giants, the titans, by Nagi. Some sources maintain that Xerxes, let me go back. Some sources maintain that Xerxes, Alexander the Great, Roman emperors, Ogier, king of Denmark, and many others visited the kingdom of Prester John, King David, Johnny the Baptist, Elijah Prester, or Melchizedek. We're talking Raja Chola. Let's go yourself. King of Prester John, kingdom of the Prester John, where they were accorded legitimatization. So in order to be legit, you had to come through Melchizedek. You had to come through the priesthood. John's kingdom is named the Empire of the Great Khan. What's the Grand Canyon about? What's in the Grand Canyon? For real, for real. Mysteries and miraculous stories. That is the Khan Father, or Batu Khan, or Vatican. And you can take it, we're surfing the wave with it, connecting to the Batu Khan, which is one of Genghis Khan's sons, or we're talking about literally just a translation of Bati and Vati, or Khan Father. And was the Vatican, the OG Vatican, really the Khan Father, or the great Khan Prester John in the kingdom of Prester John? Is that the OG Vatican? Do they just have a reflection of the Vaticans, since we're talking about reflections? Now that we can see clearly, we got the King of Kings. When we talk Prester, we're talking the Holy Grail. We're talking the Grail, my knock. Elijah, spelled Elias, or Eliyahu, prophet or priest, who ranks with Moshe. Remember we asked the question, is David Moses? They would definitely be ranking up at the same spot. Elijah's name means Hawa is my power. They say Yahweh is my God. Come on. So Elijah's name means that Hawa is my power. So that's just the meaning of the title. Ain't that the same title that David would rock? Hawa is my power, servant of Hawa. And it's spelled Elias in some versions. All right. The story of his prophetic career in the northern kingdom of Israel during the reigns of King Ahab and Isaiah is told in 1 Kings 17. So without further ado, we're going to dig on it and just know that he's also recognized in Islam, right? Prester John is also recognized in Islam, but they just call him Elijah, huh? This Israelite king Omri had allied himself had allied himself with the Phoenician cities of the coast, and his son Ahab was married to Jezebel, daughter of Ethbaal, king of Tyre and Sidon. Jezebel, with her Tyrenian couriers and large contingent of pagan priests and prophets, pagan priests, they had them hijacks, propagated her native religion in a sanctuary built for Baal in the royal city of Samaria. This meant that the Israelites accepted Baal as well as Hawa, putting Hawa on par with the nature god whose supreme manifestations were the elements biological fertility. So they put Hawa on par with another power. What's rule number one, my noggin? What's rule number one? Don't put no power before your power. Allow Hawa. There we go. There we go. So we in First Kings. Just relax. This is gonna be a fluid dismount. Just pull them up right now. First Kings 17, 18, 2 Kings. Let's go. This is when Elijah is stepping onto the scene, my nut. Make sure we're good on time. We're gonna enjoy this flow in our Tanakh only session. Seeing clearly, man, in real time. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful time. So like I said, Elijah just comes up out of nowhere, man, right? Ravens feed Elijah. Let's go. Elijah, the Tishbite. Let's just back it up. 1 Kings 16, so you can see that Elijah comes out of nowhere. I don't want you just to take my word for it. That's not what we do around here, man. It's not what we do around here. So, just to catch you up on things, we got a bunch of disrespectful kings running around, right? You have Solomon, and the kingdom was broken apart from Solomon. Remember all the false gods and false idols and whatnot, right? So, we finally got a righteous king stepping up, right? You got Asa, who comes out and he's actually ruling the people quite well. He rules for, I want to say 30 some years. We about to get it. Now here comes Omri, the son of Jeroboam, and Jeroboam's this evil king coming out, right? But at the same time, Hawa, this is all Hawa's doing. Hawa took 10 tribes away, out, from Solomon, right? And he still kept Solomon there because he always wanted to have, he wanted to have this connection. He wanted to always have a lamp, he said. Solomon will always have a lamp in Judah. So there's always going to be a lamp there for who? For my son, for David's sake, my anointed. So Solomon's always there, or David is always there. And now we have Asa, who is now following that up, representing for Judah. And this is all, what Hawa has put because of his love for his anointed son, David. All right. So then were the people of Israel divided into two parts. Half of the people followed Tibni, the son of Ginath, to make him king, and half followed Omri. But the people that followed Omri prevailed against the people that followed Tibni, the son of Ginath. So Tibni died and Omri reigned in the 31st year of Asa. So now this is 31 years Asa's reigning, all right? Of Judah began Omri to work or to reign over Israel, 12 years. 6 years reigned he in Tisri. All right, so let's go. But Omri wrought evil in the eyes of Hawa, still worshiping them hijacks, right? And did worse than all that were before him. So Omri was even worse than everybody else. Omri sleeps with his fathers. He gets killed, right? And in the 38th year, so this is 38 years of Asa, king of Judah, began Ahab, the son of Omri. So here comes another one. And Ahab, even though we all about the Ahab, but he wasn't all about that Ahab for Hawa, the son of Omri. Ahab, the son of Omri, reigned over Israel in Samaria 22 years. And Ahab, the son of Omri, did evil in the sight of Hawa above all that were before him. And it came to pass as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, that he took a wife, Jezebel. So now we got this Jezebel character coming in, and this is going to be a big deal when it comes to Elijah. You know, her and her priest, right? The daughter of Ethbaal, king of Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshiped them. And he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Samaria. And Ahab made a grove, and Ahab did more. Listen up, man. Ahab did more to provoke Hawa in anger than all the kings of Israel that before him, man. So this is when Elijah came. It got so bad that here comes another priest king. Except they're calling him a prophet. So you're just kind of like, compartmentalizing, that out of the priesthood. You're just saying, oh, he's a prophet popping up and now he's gone. That's how they're playing with us. This is a priest king, man. So here comes this Prester. Here comes this Prester because Ahab did more to provoke Hawa to anger than all kings of Israel before him. In his days did Hiel, the Bethelite, build Jericho. He laid the foundation thereof of Abraham, his firstborn, and set up the gates thereof in his youngest son, Sagub, according to the word of Hawa, which he spake to Joshua, son of Nun. All right. Let's go. So this is where we leave off at in, 1 Kings 16. Now let's go to 1 Kings 17, where we left off at, and just see what verse 1 says. And Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab, whoa. Elijah, where did you just come from? We just read all this about Ahab, right? All this about Asa. Asa's in his 38th year of reigning. And here comes Elijah, literally a Prester, from the sky, my knocking. All right. Elijah the Tishbite. Remember that Tishbite? When we talked about that Tishbite? Oh, yeah, because we're talking about the origin of Elijah, man. We're talking about the origin of Elijah. Tishbite is a demon. Then remember, it's just a word that they're just throwing around to give him some type of place, predicted of the prophet or Prester Elijah. So it could also be read what? Alternatively, it could be read what? Elijah the dweller from among the inhabitants of Gilead. So it doesn't even have to say Elijah the Tishbite. Don't let it get in your head to confuse you. They're trying to confuse the Khan. Elijah the dweller from among the inhabitants of Gilead, and we know where Gilead is at. So Elijah the dweller or sojourner from Gilead is all we're talking about, said unto Ahab, as Hawa of Israel lives, before whom I stand, there shall not do nor rain these years. There shall not be dew, so no rain, but according to my word. And the word of Hawa came unto him, saying, get thee hence, and turn thee east, and hide thyself by the brook Karath, that is before Jordan, and it shall be that you shall drink of the brook. He's drinking that water. He's drinking out that fountain again. And I have commanded the ravens to feed you there. So he went and did according unto the word of Hawa, for he went and dwelt by the brook Kereth, that is before the Jordan. And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook. So he's being fed by the birds, man. He ain't feeding the birds. The birds are feeding Elijah. And it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up, because there had been no rain in the land. And Hawa said, arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belongs to Zidon, and dwell there, before I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain you. So he was taking care of everywhere he went, my nigga. So he arose and went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there gathering her sticks, and he called to her and said, fetch me, I pray you, a little water in a vessel that I might drink. And as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, bring me, I pray you, a morsel of bread in your hand. And she said, as Hawa, my power lives, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in the cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I might go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. So they ready to die. They over there starving. So even though, Elijah was sent to her, she's really, about to check out, her and her children. So really, Hawa is sending her help. Elijah said to her, fear not, go and do as you have said, as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it to me, and after make for thee and your son. For thus says Hawa, the power of Israel, the barrel of meal shall not waste, neither shall the cruse of oil fail until the day that Hawa sends rain upon the earth. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah. And she and he and her house did eat many days, and the barrel of meal wasted not, neither did the cruse of oil fail, according to the word of Hawa, which he spoke to Elijah. So hold up. Love to Yosef, man, who was talking about these reflections, man. I mean, who else, turned what, one fish into a whole bunch of fish to feed everybody, turn the water into wine. Don't this sound like a reflection of what Jesus was doing when he fed his people, right? They didn't have enough food, but he said, don't trip. I'll make sure we have enough, right? And now you got another story or another reflection. But right quick, who's Elijah? Who's Elijah again, right? We're talking about this Tishbite, right? We're talking about this sojourner, just like King David, right? Just like King David. Whom I will raise up for you, Khan. Oh man, it's too good. It's too good to vibrate with the Shabata. Elijah, right? Which means my power is Hawa, right? According to the book of Kings in the Hebrew Bible, a prophet, a miracle worker, just like Jesus, man. Okay. So they try to make David Jesus. They try to make Prester Jesus, John the Baptist Jesus, Elijah's Jesus, Ezekiel, who literally suffers 430 years of, or 430 days straight of crucifixion for the 430 years of transgressions of Israel and Judah combined. Ezekiel took the crucifixion for all of Israel and Judah, laying on one side for hundreds of days and on the other side for hundreds of days, eating cow dung, right? So we got this other miracle worker, this Prester here, right? During the reign of Ahab. Now it said Elijah defended the worship of the Hebrew God. So Elijah, or the Prester, is defending the power of our Creator over that of the Canaanite deity Baal. God also performed many miracles through Elijah. He's the miracle man. Prester is the miracle man. Huh? Including resurrection. Come on. Phantoms and duplication. So he raised the dead, bringing fire down from the sky and entering heaven alive by fire. And I'm just asking you, is Elijah the prophet or the Prester? And what does it have to do with a meteor thrown from the clouds with such violence that by collision it is set on fire? Oh yeah, we get angry. Our neck starts to swell. What does that got to do with the fire? We're talking a prophet or we're talking a Prester. So Elijah defends the worship of our Creator. He defends the code against these hijacked Canaanites, Atlanteans, Thothisms. Awad also performs miracles through Elijah, including resurrection of the dead, brings fire down from the sky, and enters heaven alive by fire. He is also portrayed as leading a school of prophets known as the sons of the prophets. Following the ascension, Elijah, his disciple and most devoted assistant, took over his role as leader of his school. The book of Malachi prophesies Elijah's return before the coming of the great and terrible day of Hawa, making him a harbinger of the Messiah. Or now here's the trick. They like to call him the harbinger of the Messiah. But if we're just talking Malachi, right? And let's read it together one more time, because is he the harbinger of the Messiah, or does it say he's going to come before the day of Hawa, which makes him a messenger himself? He's not here to bring the messenger. He is the messenger. I mean, how do you translate Malachi? Where we at? Oh, let me go up a little bit. How do you translate this Malachi right here, man? Behold, I will send you Elijah. Now, does this say he's going to bring you a messenger, or does it say he's going to bring you Hawa? I will send you Elijah, the Prester, before the coming and great and dreadful day of Hawa. He will turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to the fathers, lest I come and strike the earth with a curse. Where does it say he's going to bring a messenger? Or is he bringing the message? Is he the one that's turning the hearts of the fathers to the children and children to the fathers? Does it say he's bringing a messenger? See, the Christians need to tell you that so that they can say that Jesus is following him, because Jesus is the one they're looking for in the end. You see how they substituted those things and giving you a 6 degrees, 666 degrees, HR 666 degrees of separation. I will send you Elijah before I come, is what Hawa is saying. And he's going to turn you back to each other. And guess what? Or I'm going to come and strike the earth right before I strike this earth with a curse. He's not the harbinger of a Messiah, right? He is a Messiah. He is a messenger. He is a Mashiach himself. Making him a harbinger of the Messiah, or the Messiah, right? Or the Mashiach, or the Prester, or the David, or the flow. But let go. So again, he raises the dead. We're in 2 King or 1 King 17:17. And it came to pass after these things that the son of the woman, the mistress of the house, fell sick, and his sickness was so sore that there was no breath left in him. And she said to Elijah, what have I to do with thee, O man of Hawa? Art thou come unto me to call my sins to remembrance and to slay my son? And he said to her, give me your son. And he took him out of her bosom and carried him into a loft where he abode, and laid him down in his own bed. And he cried unto Hawa and said, Hawa, my power. Right? He didn't use his own power. He went straight to Hawa. The Prester goes straight to Hawa directly. He didn't go through nobody else, right? He went directly to Hawa. Hast thou also brought evil upon the widow with whom I sojourn by slaying her son? And he stretched himself upon the child 3 times and cried unto Hawa and said, Oh, Hawa, my power, I pray you, let this child's soul come into him again. And Hawa heard the voice of Elijah. Wait a minute. Because remember, Hawa hears the voice of David in Psalms 18, right? Hawa hears David, right? He hears the Prester. For that fire comes down in Psalms 18. Come on, man. It's a beautiful dismount we're making. Ahab to the tribe. Wow. All right, here we go. Psalm 18. All right, so I will love you, Hawa. Hawa is my rock, my fortress. We're talking David, right? We're talking Elijah, Khan, my deliverer, my power. Does it sound familiar? My strength. Is there any difference between the words of Elijah and David in real time? In whom I will trust, my buckler and the horn of my salvation and my high tower. I will call upon Hawa, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. The sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. The sorrows of hell compassed me. The snares of death prevented me. In my distress, I called upon Hawa and cried. It's like he just did. He cried for Hawa to give the child another life, right? I cried unto Hawa. He heard my voice. This is a very significant thing because you're not going to find Hawa hearing the voice of many, but he does hear David and he does hear Elijah. Hawa heard the voice out of his temple and made my cry come before him. And what happened after this, you already know. The earth shook and trembled. Fountains were moved and shaken. There came smoke out of his nostrils and fire out of his mouth. We're just talking dragons. So when Elijah brings these dragons in, this fire from heaven, we're talking the fire out the mouth of the Creator that devours. Because Hawa does what? He heard David. He hears Dawi again. And he stressed himself upon the child 3 times and cried unto Hawa and said unto Hawa, I pray you let this child's soul come into him again. And Hawa heard the voice of Elijah. And the soul of the child came into him again, and he was revived. And Elijah took the child, brought him down out of the chamber into his house, delivered him into his mother. And Elijah said, see, your son lives. And the woman said to Elijah, now by this I know that you are a man of Hawa, that you are a Prester, and that the word of Hawa in your mouth is true. Let's get 18. Let's keep going for the dismount. Let's go. Hawa, Hawa. It's a Yapa thing to dig on reality with the tribe. It's a Yapa thing to surf the wave with the Shabata. And it came to pass after many days that the word of Hawa came to Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, go show yourself into Ahab, and I will send rain into the earth. And Elijah went to show himself unto Ahab. And there was a sore famine in Samaria. And Ahab called Obadiah, which was the governor of his house. Now Obadiah feared Hawa greatly, for it was so when Jezebel cut off the prophets of Hawa, that Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in the cave. So Obadiah is trying to, do the right thing, and fed them with bread and water. And Ahab said unto Obadiah, go into the land unto all fountains of water and into all the brooks. Peradventure we find grass to save the horses and the mules alive, that we lose not all the beasts. So they divided the land between them to pass through it. Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went the other way. And Obadiah was in the way holding Elijah. Behold, Elijah met him, and he knew him, and fell on his face and said, art thou that? Are you that, my lord Elijah? Now Obadiah, a righteous man, threw himself down on the floor when Elijah stepped up, right? Because there's something, you don't just throw yourself down in front of any priest or any prophet, right? He's throwing himself down because he recognizes this Melchizedek energy. Remember, where did he come from? Where did Elijah the Tishbite come from? And he answered him, I am, go. I am, go tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here. And he said, what have I sinned? That thou would deliver thy servant into the hand of Ahab to slay me? And as Hawa lives, there is no nation or kingdom whither my Lord have not sent to seek thee. And when they said he is not there, he took an oath of the kingdom and nation that they found not thee. And now you say, go and tell Hawa, behold, Elijah is here. Or go and tell your Lord. See, they got the lowercase L, your Lord. That's why we dodge these hijacks. Behold, Elijah is here. And it shall come to pass, as soon as I am gone from thee, that the spirit of Hawa shall carry you whither I know not. And so when I come and tell Ahab, and he cannot find thee, he shall slay me. But I, your servant, fear Hawa from my youth. Was it not told my Lord what I did when Jezebel slew the prophets? So he's trying to make good with Elijah. He's like, look, man, I hid the prophets. I took care of them. don't Hawa know how I hid 100 men of Hawa's prophets by 50 in the cave and fed them with bread and water? Now you say, go tell the Lord, or thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here, and he shall slay me. And Elijah said, as Hawa of hosts lives, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself unto him today. Wow. So Elijah, is letting him know, don't even trip. I'm going to be here. You know what I mean? You ain't got to be afraid. And this is a crux that we're in, because we got the power system, just like this government now, right? We got this power, and then we got the real power. We got the Prester flow. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. And it came to pass, when Ahab saw Elijah, that Ahab said unto him, art thou he that troubles Israel? And he answered, I have not troubled Israel, but you and your father's house, in that you have forsaken the commandments of Hawa, and you have followed Baalim. Now therefore sin and gather to me all Israel unto Mount Carmel, and the prophets of Baal 450, and the prophets of the grove 400, which eat at Jezebel's table. So Ahab sent to all the congregation, all the children of Israel, gathered the prophets together. And Elijah came unto all the people and said, how long halt you between two opinions? How long are you going to be between two opinions, people? If Hawa be our power, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. You can't be wishy-washy. You got to choose up. And the people answered him not a word. Then said Elijah unto the people, I, even I only, remain a prophet of Hawa. But Baal's prophets are 450. Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it into pieces, and lay it on the wood, and put no fire under it. And I will dress the other bullock, and lay it on the wood, and put no fire under, and call you on the name of your God. And I will call on Hawa, and Hawa that answers by fire, let him be our power. So whoever answers by fire, man, my power or yours, that's our power. And all the people answered and said, it was well spoken. And Elijah said unto all the prophets of Baal, choose you 1 bullock for yourself, dress it first, for you are many, and call on the name of your God. So you remember this story, man. You know what I'm saying? They call on their power. Nothing happens, right? They cried aloud, verse 28, and cut themselves after the manner with knives. They started cutting themselves, slicing their skin till blood was gushing out. And it came to pass when midday was past, and they prophesied unto the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that there was neither voice nor any answer. False idols, my naga. Verse 30, and Elijah said unto all his people, come near me. And all the people came near unto him. And he repaired the altar of Hawa that was broken down. And Elijah took 12 stones, according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, unto whom the word of Hawa came, saying, Israel shall be your name. And with the stones he built an altar in the name of Hawa. And he made a trench about the altar. as great as would contain 2 measures of seed. And he put the wood in order and cut the bullock in pieces and laid him on the wood and said, fill 4 barrels with water, poured on the burnt sacrifice and on the wood. And he said, do it the second time. And they did it the second time. And he said, do it a third time. And they did it a third time. And the water ran round about the altar. And he filled the trench also with water. And it came to pass at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice that Elijah the prophet came near and said, Hawah of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. Let it be known this day you are Hawah in Israel, and that I am your servant, and that I have done all these things at your word. Hear me, O Hawah, hear me. Remember, Hawah hears David. He hears Elijah. That this people may know that thou art Hawah, the power, and that thou hast turned their hearts back again. Then the fire of Hawah fell. We're talking the fire of Hawah, right? The Prester fire, the dragon fire, and consumed the burnt sacrifice. We're talking the fire of Hawah. When Hawah hears David, then comes the fire, the smoke out of his nostrils, and the fire out of his mouth, my naga. And this is what devours, my naga. Yeah, I mean, devours, my naga. Let's go. Then the fire of Hawah fell and consumed the burnt sacrifice. So Hawah breathed on it, my naga, and the wood and the stones and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. And when all the people saw it, they fell on their face and said, Hawah, he is our power. Hawah, he is the power. And Elijah said unto them, take the prophets of Baal, and let not one of them escape. And they took them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook and slew them. Then came the rain, right? So you got this Jesus over there turning water into wine, walking on water. He never commanded the fire to come down. He never commanded the dragon. He never commanded the dragon. You ain't talking about the Rex Regnum, the Rex Naga, the King of Kings, the all-powerful. He never commanded the dragon like the Prester do, like David do. You know what I'm saying? Like David do. Yeah, I mean, smoke out of his nostrils, fire out of his mouth to save David and the tribe in Psalm 18. I mean, you know, JC never commanded the fire, the dragon, right in their face bone, right so we can see clearly what power is. You got Joshua, who literally makes the water stand, separates the waters, just like Moshe. He had his own Moshe moment, separates the waters in the Jordan. He even stops the waterfalls from flowing down. Then he stops the sun from moving so he can finish his war with sunlight. Those are real miracles, my knock. You know what I'm saying? The fountain of youth, real things. King of Kings, the real keys on the earth belong to David or Johnny the Baptist with the baptizing living water, or just call him Elijah, who will return, right? Malachi chapter 3 will return before this great, terrible day of Hawah. Or we're just talking about David, Jeremiah 30, whom I will raise up for you. Or we're just talking Hosea 3 and 5, because you're searching for the Creator and David. And now you see why. Because he hears this priest king Melchizedek, Prester John frequency. Or we're just talking Elijah. And we'll get a couple more scripts as we, flow on, man. Shabbat Shalom to all the realists. And, step by step, this is what we've been doing in real time. Let's get 1 Kings 21. There's a separation between the phantom frequencies of power and the reality. You might as well get 1 Chronicles 8 and 2 Chronicles 21 on deck for the dismount. This is just wrapping up Jezebel's plot. And the word of Thawada came to Elijah, the Tishbite, or the sojourner, the dweller. Let's go, arise, go down to meet Ahab, king of Israel, which is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whether he is gone down to possess it. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus says Thawada, hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus says Thawada, in the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick your blood, even yours, man. Talking to them jackals. And Ahab said unto Elijah, Hast thou found me, O my enemy? And he answered, I have found you, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of Thawada. Behold, I will bring evil unto you, and will take away your posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel, and will make your house like the house of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, the son of Ahijah, for the provocation, for testing up, for disrespecting the code, wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger, and made Israel to sin. And of Jezebel also spoke Thawada, saying, The dogs shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel, man. Which dogs? Sinus of Phili. Him that dies of Ahab in the city, the dogs shall eat, and him that dies in the fields shall the fowls of the air eat. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of Thawada, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up. And he did very abominably in following idols according to all things, as did the Amorites, the more whom Thawada cast out before the children of Israel. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard these words, that he rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his flesh. Oh, now he wants to be righteous, right? And he fasted, lay in sackcloth, and went softly. And the words of Thawada came to Elijah, the dweller. See thou how Ahab humbles himself before me. Because he humbles himself before me, I will not bring the evil in his days, but in his son's days will I bring the evil upon his house. All right, man. You came humble. You see how great our power is after. Remember, Ahab had done worse than all the other kings, but because he repented, because he came humble, Thawada gave him a pass. But he didn't give his generations no pass. Let's pick it up here in 2 Kings. Let's go to chapter 1. Oh, wow. You know, Thawada will give you a pass if you come humble, hijack city. I know you've done a lot of evil. I know you've done a lot of evil to lead the children astray. Come correct. Then Moab rebelled against Israel in the death of Ahab. Here comes Moab. Uh-oh. And Ahaziah fell down through the lattice in his upper chamber that was in Samaria and was sick, and sent messengers and said to them, Go inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ekron, whether I shall recover of this disease. But the dragon said to Elijah, the Tishbite, right, the angel, right? We know we're talking dracons. The dragon said to Elijah, the Tishbite, the dweller. The dragon said to David. The dragon said to John, Arise, go up to meet the messengers of the king of Samaria, and say unto them, It is not because there is not a God in Israel that you go inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ekron. Now therefore, thus says Thawada, thou shalt not come down from the bed of which thou art gone up, but shalt surely die. And Elijah departed. So, he had to tell him, real quick like that there, what his fate will be. Let's go down to verse 7. And he said, What manner of man was he that came up to meet you? And he told him these words, and they answered him, He was a hairy man, girt with a girdle of leather around his loins. And he said, Is it Elijah the Tishbite? So, let me get this translation. I said I got my Sefer open. A hairy man. Let's go. Verse 7. 2 Kings. And he said, what manner of man was he which came up to meet you and told you these words? And he answered, he was a hairy man and girt with a girdle of leather around his loins. And he said, it is Eliyahu the Tishbite. Then the king sent unto him a captain of 50 and his 50. And he went up, and behold, he sat on the top of the hill. He spoke unto him, man of Hawa, the king has said, come down. And Eliyahu answered and said to the captain of 50, if I be a man of Hawa, let fire come down from heaven and consume you. Here we go. And there came down fire from heaven and consumed him and his 50. Here we go again with the fire. Here we go again with the fire. Here we go again with the dragons of Hawa. Commanding the fire, commanding the dragon, has everything to do with the control of the elements, man. When you got the drop, and when you got that last avatar drop. I'm just digging on these translations a little bit. Let me check out, what's that, verse 7? Let me check out verse 8. He's making a beautiful dismount as we pull something together that's really, been right in our face bone the whole time, man. Yeah, all right, so we're in 2 Kings chapter 1, verse 8, digging on just a little bit of this translation. Just wondering if they all translate the same. All right, so everyone's translating, he was a hairy man, he was a hairy man. Check out this good news translation. He was wearing a cloak made of animal skins tied with a leather belt. All right, everyone else is going on with this hair thing, right? A hairy man with a leather belt. Hairy man, hairy man. Now you're talking about him having, long hair. All right. Or does that mean, because some people like to take it literally and say, oh, he must have been, like some type of Chewbacca situation. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Come on, good news translation. He was wearing a cloak made of animal skins tied with a leather belt. It doesn't say nothing about him having hair on his skin. Anybody else have an interesting translation of this? So everyone's going with the narrative. There we go. Oh, yeah. He was a hairy. Now it has the Strong's Concordance 8181. Let's check this out. We're just digging on it. Doing some recon in real time, digging on Elijah and this hair situation. I wanted to know, does it have to translate that way, or is there another way so that we don't get caught up in no Chewbacca situation? When we talk about David, right? Who actually was the one that has the smooth skin. However, again, we're talking about sort of a reincarnation of this David, right? After he, passed his lineage on to Solomon, right? He checked out, but then he comes back as this Elijah situation. This Prester comes back, again and again and again, right? So let's go. Talking immortal, right? So this is 8181. Okay, yeah. Let's get it over and scroll down. You see how this same look, man. Look, man. This is why you gotta look at it with a 360, my nigga, because you will get caught up in any one of these roadblocks. And we're talking about the hair, right here. So they say hairy man. You're just talking about hair, right? Or you're talking about the animal skins he's wearing, or you're talking about the hair of his head. So either he had, beautiful locks, you're just talking about his hairy head. That translation doesn't say his hair was growing out of his skin all over his body, right? So they just say hairy man. We think about it like Chewbacca, but hairy could just be talking about the hair of his head, my nigga. Same verb again, or same adjective describing 1 Kings 1:8 right here. Just letting you know we're just talking the same thing. Man archer him a hairy girdle, right? A hairy girdle. So some just say hairy man, King James Version, hairy man. International, hairy girdle. Huh? So you're talking about his outfit? You're talking about his garments were hairy? Or he had a hair on his head? Which one? Which one? And this is how we look closer so we can see clearly. Let's get the rest of this. A hairy man, hair on his head or hairy garments, what are we referring to? Girded with this leather, right? So you can kind of get an imagination of what this, garment made of these animal skins and this leather belt, might have been looking like. Either way, Elijah, the dweller, the Tishbite, the sojourner, he commanded the what? The fire to come down from heaven. Fire out of his mouth, smoke out of his nose. And he did it again. And he did it again, right? He took out the 50. He took him out again. He took him out again. And he said to the captain in verse 13, and he sent again a captain of the third 50. So this is the third time they got devoured by this dragonfly. And the third captain went of 50 and came up and fell on his knees before Elijah and besought him and said, O man of Hawaii, I pray thee, let my life, the life of your 50 servants, be precious in your sight. Behold, there came fire from heaven and burnt up the two captains of the former 50s with their 50. Therefore, let my life now be precious in your sight. And the dragon of Hawaii said to Elijah, go down with him. Be not afraid of him. And he arose, went down with him unto the king. And he said to him, thus says Hawaii, for as much as thou hast sent messengers to inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ekron, is it not because there is no power in Israel to inquire of his word? Wherefore thou shalt not come down off that bed on which thou art gone up, but shalt surely die. So he did according to the word of Hawaii, which Elijah had spoken, and Jehoram reigned in his stead in the second year of Jehoram, the son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, because he had no son. Now, the rest of the acts of Uzziah, aren't they written in the Chronicles of the Kings, man? And the last one we're going to go get. Actually, let's do a quick scroll through chapter 2 as well and 2 Kings. So head up to 2 Kings chapter 2, and then we'll do a dismount in 1 Chronicles. Ahab Shabata, Shalom. All right, so he's being taken back, right? He's being taken back to heaven. And it came to pass when Hawaii would take Elijah into heaven by a whirlwind, dragon phenomena, atmospheric phenomena, that Elijah went with Elisha from Gilgal, and Elijah said unto Elisha, tarry here, I pray you, for Hawa has sent me to Bethel. And Elijah said unto him, as Hawa lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. So they went down to Bethel, and the sons of the prophets that were at Bethel came forth to Elijah and said unto him, knowest thou that Hawa would take your master from thy head today? And he said, yeah, I know it. Hold your peace, man. Chill out, man. And Elijah said unto Elisha, tarry here, I pray you, for Hawa has sent me to Jericho. And as Hawa lives, I won't leave you. So they went to Jericho, and the sons of the prophet that were at Jericho came to Elisha and said, man, no, Hawa's going to take your master away today. He said, I know it, man. Hold your peace. And Elijah said unto him, tarry, man, I pray you here, for Hawa has sent me to the Jordan. And he said, man, I'm not going to leave you. So they went on. Verse 7, and 50 men of the sons of the prophets went and stood to view afar off, and they too stood by Jordan. And Elijah took his mantle, wrapped it together, and smote the waters, and they were divided. Whoa. So Joshua divided the waters, Moshe divided the waters, Elijah divided the waters. Did Jesus ever do that? Oh, he walked on water. Gotcha. He turned water into wine. Come on, man. These are insignificant, lesser light magic tricks. You see what I'm saying? Especially in the Benjamins of Tadula, when you got David walking on water. We're going to go and get that again. Go get that drop. King David walks on water. Just go search for it. Khandrop, King David walks on water. And it came to pass, verse 9, that when they had gone over, that Elijah said unto Elisha, so hold up. Elijah just parted the waters, my naga. So they too went over on dry ground. All right. And he said, what shall I do for you before I be taken away? And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of your spirit be unto me. And he said, thou hast asked a hard thing, man. A double portion of the Prester? Nevertheless, if you see me when I am taken from you, it shall be so unto you. But if not, it shall not be so. So you gotta see me. You gotta get that frequency. And it came to pass, and they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire, my nah. Chariot of fire, right? Come on. And horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more. And he took hold of his own clothes and rent them into two pieces. He took up also the mantle of Elijah that fell from him, went back and stood by the bank of the Jordan, and he took the mantle of Elijah that fell from him and smote the waters and said, where is Hawa, power of Elijah? And when he also had smitten the waters, they parted hither and thither, and Elisha went over. So he passed on the blessings, just like Moshe laid his hands on Joshua before he died and passed on the blessing. So Moses passes on the blessing. Elijah passes on the blessing, right? David passes the blessings on to Solomon. Come on. Dismount season, man. First Chronicles, chapter 8. Yapa. Let's go right to it. Verse 27. So this is just a mentioning, of this lineage, right? Let's pick it up at 22. You have Ishban and Heber and Elio. Back it up. Now Benjamin begot Bela, firstborn. So this is why some say this Elijah is the same Elijah, the Benjamite, right? These are back to we're talking about the origins of Elijah, all the way at the bottom here. And they got Elijah's chair, they got Elijah's cup, right? We're talking the grail, right? Uh-oh. So some say he belonged to the tribe of Gad, right? Some say he belonged to Benjamin. This is where they're getting it from. He was identical with Elijah mentioned in first. He's identical with Elijah mentioned in First Chronicles. So this is what we're getting right here out this First Chronicles. Now Benjamin begat Bela, his firstborn, Ashbel the second, Ahara the third, or on and on and on, all the way down to 22. Ishpan and Eber, Elio, Abnan, Zikri, Hanan, Hananiah, and Elam, and Anton, Thinjah, and Tothijah, and Ithediah, and Penuel, and Shashak, and Shamsharah, Shehariah, and Ataliah, and Jahasiah, and Eliha. All right, so this would be the Elijah that they're confirming or saying that, is identical. Right? These are the heads of their fathers by the generations. Chief men, right? Chief men, Presters. Let's hit it up in First Chronicles 21. We're talking Dawid. Remember that census that he took. All right. I'm going to get it right here. 18. Hawa, the angel of Hawa, commanded Gad to say to David that David should go up and set up an altar unto Hawa in the threshing floor of Oman or Ornan the Jebusites. And David went up at the saying of Gad, which he spake in the name of Hawa. And Ornan turned back and saw the dragon, and his 4 sons with him hid themselves. Now they hid themselves because they saw this dragon, not this little angel, right? Now Ornan was threshing wheat. And as David came to Ornan, Ornan looked and saw David and went out of the threshing floor and bowed himself to David and his face to the ground. Then David said to Ornan, grant me the place of this threshing floor, that I may build an altar thereof unto Hawa. Thou shalt grant it me for the full price, that the plague may be stayed from my people. And Ornan said unto David, take it to you, and let my lord the king do that which is good in his eyes. Lo, I give thee the oxen also for burnt offerings, and the threshing instruments for wood, and the wheat for the meal offering. I give it all. And King David said to Ornan, nay, but I will verily buy it for the full price. Why is he purchasing this land, my Nagi? For those that don't believe in buying land, even David purchased the land at full price. For I will not take that which is thine for Hawa, nor offer burnt offerings without cause. So David gave to Ornan for the place 600 shekels of gold by weight. And David built there an altar unto Hawa, and offered burnt offerings, peace offerings, and called it upon Hawa. And he answered him from heaven by fire. Here we go for the dismount, my Naga. Just like Hawa, gave that fire out of his mouth for Elijah, for them, for the burnt offerings, you know what I mean? He gave that fire to burn up to 50 on 50 on 50 hijacks. He was taken up in this fire. Psalms 18 with David, he comes out He hears David, comes down with smoke out of his nose and fire out of his mouth, the same fire. And here we go again with David as he builds his own altar for Hawa and the dragon, right? We're talking about the dragon. And he answered him from heaven by fire upon the altar of the burning. And Hawa commanded the dragon, and he put up his sword again into his sheath thereof. At that time, when David saw that Hawa had answered him with that fire, just like he did Elijah, or John the Baptist, or Prester John, or King David, saw that Hawa had answered him in the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite. Then he sacrificed there for the tabernacle of Hawa, which Moses made in the wilderness, and the altar of the burnt offering were at that season in the high place of Gibeon. But David could not go before it to inquire of Hawa, for he was afraid because of the sword of the angel of Hawa. He was afraid of that dragon. Even David had to overcome the fear of his own dragon, my Nagi. And maybe you need to get out of your way and let your dragon, Coon, free Phineas. Don't be afraid of your Drakan. No fear. Hey, we're just digging on Elijah today, bringing it together. You know, this Elijah that came, out of nowhere, man. This Tishbite, we're just talking this sojourner. And he's all about Hawaii, man. He's all about the code, And this is how you know your Presters, is that it's all about keeping the code, you know what I mean? I'm just breaking out the similarities, the reflections, the duplications, whether or not Elijah is actually King David, and whether or not King David is actually John the Baptist. I mean, there's not enough proof in the world for some, you know what I mean? But for those with eyes to see clearly, we can start to connect and say, hey, either way, we're talking hijack free Presters, and we're connecting it, dodging the hijack of these timelines and these duplications in the stories. And when it says in Malachi 4, my noggin, when it says in Malachi 4 that, Elijah will be sent. I will send you Elijah, the prophet, or the Prester, before the coming of the great and terrible day, dreadful day of Hawa. So before the end of days, here comes the Prester, comes Elijah. He's not bringing and making way for another messenger. Here comes Elijah before the coming of the great and dreadful day. Allah, my servant David shall be king over them, Ezekiel 37:24, and they shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, observe my statutes, and do them. Then they shall dwell in the land that I have given to Jacob, my servant, where your fathers dwell. They shall dwell there, their children, and their children's children forever. My servant David shall be their Khan forever. Forever. I will establish one shepherd over them. He shall feed them. My servant David, he shall feed them and be their shepherd. I, Hawa, will be their power. My servant David, a prince, a Khan among them. I, Hawa, have spoken. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king or prince, without a Khan. But afterwards the children of Israel shall return, will wake up, seek the Creator only. Seek the Creator directly. And it's not two separate things, the Creator and David. You're talking about the flow, my Naga. You're talking about the fire. The fire that the Creator gives David because he hears David. The fire that the Creator gives Elijah because he hears Elijah is no separation. You know what I'm saying? There is no separation. And this is why in Christianity they try to say, oh, Jesus is God. They're trying to correlate these things in the duplicate format. We know that the power that runs through Melchizedek comes directly from Hawa, period. Directly to our framer and our shaper, Allah Hawa. Because my Naga, Hawa's gonna gather us. Surely I will take the children of Israel from among the nations. Where you have gone, I will gather them from every side and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land on the mountains of Israel, one king, and one king shall be king over them all. They shall no longer be two nations, nor shall they ever be divided into two kingdoms. David, my servant, shall be their Khan, and they shall have one shepherd and walk in my judgments and keep the code. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given to Jacob. We're talking the land. Once you connect to the Hawa, once you connect to the breath of security, your framer and shaper, you got your land back. Where your fathers dwell, your mothers dwell, and they shall dwell there, their children, children's children, forever. Ain't that all you ever wanted? Was for your children's children to dwell safely? Forever? My servant David shall be their prince forever. For behold, the days are coming, says Hawa, that I will bring back the captivity. I will return this captivity. I will end this captivity. My people Israel and Judah, says Hawa, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave their fathers, the land, and they shall possess it. Jeremiah 30. Alas, for the great day is great. What great day? The same great day that Elijah's coming right before this great day, so that none is like it. And it shall be the time of Jacob's trouble. Ain't this what we're in right now? Ain't this what's happening right now? This shall be the time of Jacob's trouble, the latter days, Khan, but you shall be saved out of it. They shall serve Hawa their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up for them. Therefore don't fear my servant Jacob, says Hawa, nor be dismayed, O Israel. For behold, I will save you from afar, and your seed from the land of their captivity. Jacob shall return, Jacob shall return, Jacob shall return. Have rest and be quiet. We want rest. That is your peace. That is your power. Have rest, my Nagas, and be quiet. And no one shall make him afraid. This is the time of David's return. It's the time of Elijah's coming. It's the time of John the Baptist with that fountain to bring us on home to. And we see clearly. We asked that question, right? Did how do they say it? Did a black man, did a black man discover the fountain of youth? Who is John the Baptist? Who is Johnny the Baptist? Who is Prester John? Who is the Rex of Rexes? Who's been given the keys to the water? Who got the keys today? And where is Tishbite, the royal city, which before the Israelite conquest seems to have been the seat of a wide authority? You're talking the Khan of Khans. It is the only city in that region which he destroyed by fire. And did this fire consume righteous Israel? Or did it consume the hijack? When we come together and we manage our emotions, and we don't know what's fake and we don't know what's reality out here these days, my naga. It's really hard to, be able to tell the difference between the real and the fake. They give us all the hijack in real time. They give us a show. They give us a stage. And when we care, like for George Floyd, when we care, whether or not that was a fake George Floyd or a real George Floyd, we are mourning for the reality, even if they are just doing a duplication. And that's why we got to control our emotions, because they're trying to trigger us. We know that. But we still remember the fallen in reality. And we know that whether that was a staged event, it's happening every day somewhere. And we're just tired of this shit. So the feeling and the emotion you hear coming from me in these times, I don't care if it's a fake George Floyd or a staged event or crisis actors. This shit ain't no act. You know what I'm saying? That's really happening in real time. It's a reality. This oppression is reality. The mutilizing of our people, the breaking of our people is reality. But the redemption of our people is also reality. So we feel this shit, but we also remember that we got real warriors, man. We got real warriors, man. And in John's kingdom, in this place of authority, John's kingdom is named the Empire of the Great Khan, the mysterious and miraculous stories, the Khan Father, the Vatu Khan. And we are already home. Ahab to the Khans, Thawada, for enjoying this flow into Elijah, John the Baptist, King David, Prester John, Khannection. Ahab to the tribe for the energy that you put forth to connect directly to the Creator and to correct all of our, missteps. You correcting your missteps. We're all taking a course correction in real time. This is our charge up, not our switch up, but our charge up. So let's continue to correct our steps to help each other and be patient, Panaga. Not just with yourselves and not just with each other, but be patient with Hawa in this time. And don't feel like it's time to jump before Hawa, gives us that moment and that sign and them dragons start to coom. If you believe it, rock with it. If not, get out of our way, because we know our dragons will rise again. All praise Hawa. Shabbat Shalom to the home team. Keep rising. Coom Shabata.